Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I'm talking about those common comics. I think you're going to want to take a look at those. Let's talk about it. Today I wanted to talk about the common comics. Obviously there's the rare and secret rare and all the different ones. They're all really exciting. Of course I'm into all of them, as you know. But I specifically wanted to talk about the common comics today because they're really basically some of the cheapest NFTs. I think if you're new to the system, new to Veve, and you're just kind of dipping your toes in, of course you're going to want to go for those drops, the comic drops, and for the other drops. But as we know, it's difficult to get those, and it's only going to get more difficult. And so I think if you want to try to buy some NFTs, the common comics are really, I think, quite undervalued. Now, I will say this, like I always say, this is not financial advice. Do your own research, blah, 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 blah. I'm some dude sitting in a basement. But I still think this is great information, and hopefully you find it interesting. All right, so let's talk. Okay, so a lot of the common comics, and I'll just run through some of them, they're really cheap right now. So, the House of X #1 is $10. New Mutants 98, which is the first appearance of Deadpool, many people don't know that, is $9. So, some of the more expensive common comics are Marvel Comics #1, that's around $60, $70. And Amazing Spider-Man #1 is $36. So those are a little bit more expensive, but really not when you're talking about some of the NFTs in the Veve program. We know, obviously Todd or all, the Disney ones, all these have really gotten quite expensive. So the question is are they going to go up? Are they good buys? And so I will mention this right now before I start going through other numbers, which is in every video now, I am linking a spreadsheet that I have. And on that spreadsheet, it has all the comics. I rank them in tiers, tier 1, 2, and 3. Those are, how valuable I think they're going to be. I put in the first appearances. I put in the first appearances in physical form and kind of the series. As you recall, the Master Collection program, if you have 3 of a series, you're going to get extra points. So I've taken a shot at that, and I'll keep that spreadsheet up to date. So please feel free to make a copy of it or whatever you want. Okay, back to this. So let's look at some numbers. So what's fun for me is I have a lot of these, here's Immortal Hulk. I have a lot of these in physical form. Here's Amazing Spider-Man 50, trying to get the glare away from it. So I've shown a lot of these before. Here's House of X, for example. And so for me to see these in NFT format, it's super exciting. I love it. I really love it. I have a bunch more, and I'll show some of those later maybe. Okay, the ones that I really recommend are the tier 1 comics. And so quickly, those would be Marvel Comics #1, Fantastic Four #1, Amazing Spider-Man #1, Avengers 8, Daredevil #1, Ultimate Fallout #4, and Thor 337. I have that one right here for fun if you want to take a look at it. I got this one so cheap. I think I found it for like $20 or something like that a while ago, and got it graded and whatnot. Those are in the $20 to $30 range. I really think that they're going to go up. And so you might look at Amazing Spider-Man #1, 48,000, or you might look at FF1, or when I say FF, I mean Fantastic Four #1, and I say ASM as an abbreviation for Amazing Spider-Man. A person didn't realize that the other day, so I say that quickly. I know there's a lot, but those are such big books. Literally, of course, from the perspective of new NFT people, they love those books, and if we can get any of, or a lot more of the physical comic book collectors, those are huge books that really no one can afford because they're so expensive. I think over the next year, 2 years, etc., as more people become open to NFTs, I still think we're early, and those comics, even at 48,000, I'll talk about some other print runs from a physical perspective. I think those comics are going to go big. So the tier 2, which would be, and once again, you guys can look at the spreadsheet, you don't need me to read it to you. It would be Journey into Mystery 85, First Loki, New Mutants 98, Tale of the Suspense 32, First Black Widow, X-Men 4, First Scarlet Witch, Amazing Spider-Man 361, First Carnage, Thanos 13, Amazing Spider-Man 50, First Kingpin, and Eternals #1 and Avengers 80, which we just saw come out this past weekend. And mainly those are because those are first appearances and they match in the physical world. And then we have tier 3, which would be like Immortal Hulk, etc., All New Captain America. And that's mainly because, like I said, those physical comics don't have a first appearance. They may be significant, but that hurts them from the perspective of putting them in the other tiers. Let me talk why I think there's some more evidence that these common comics are going to go up. And once again, the fear is that the mint number is too high, and I understand that. But as we get more and more users and the types of users, I really don't think that's going to matter. But let's do some comparisons to physical comics. So the two comics that I will compare just because I was able to find their print run numbers. Some of the print run numbers in physical comics are very difficult to find. And some of them, the comics are so old, we really don't know how many are left. You can look at the ones that are graded, but it's difficult. So the two ones I was able to find numbers were Incredible Hulk #1 and Thanos 13. Both are from, in the world of collectible comics, are great modern comics. Keys that anybody would want. Immortal Hulk is not the first appearance of Immortal Hulk, but that run has 50 issues. It's iconic. I can't find a person who didn't like it. 84,000 were printed for that comic versus, in Veve, 21,000 commons. So that is significantly lower. So if you were to get a bunch of physical comic book collectors in that love Immortal Hulk, which a lot of them do, that could push that price up significantly. It's at $15 right now. The other one would be Thanos 13. I can't say that. Thanos 13, which is the first appearance of Cosmic Ghost Rider, another relatively new character, but pretty much everybody really likes him. And that particular comic had 44,000 print run. In the Veve world, it had a 21,000 minted. So, less than half. And that physical book goes for $75 raw. And what I mean by raw is if you just had the comic and you didn't have it encapsulated and graded like these, if you just had the raw, it's valued a little bit less, almost like a common. So I would kind of say that's similar. So a common or a raw version of Thanos 13 in the real world, in the physical world, is $75. And that had a 44,000 print run. So you can see that can Thanos 13 maybe later get to $75? Maybe. And right now it's selling for $12. So that's why I say you don't want to sleep on these common comics. I really think that, I know there's a lot of them, and we're getting more, 2 a week, 3 a week, because people don't necessarily collect comics, so they're not used to having so many. So they're kind of getting overwhelmed by it. But really, one of the things I think they actually have to do, side note here, is they've got to somehow, they're just releasing keys. That's the term in the physical comic book world. A key is something that something significant happens or first appearance. And so you might have a run of comics, 1 through 12, and maybe 2 of those comics in there are keys. So right now they're just releasing keys, which is good because those are the ones that people want to collect, but you're not able to see it in a run. And I had talked to some other people. I thought about perhaps maybe they would release what's called an omnibus, which is a large hardcover book, which was a bunch of comics in it, so you can read the whole story. So that's something I think that's missing. You can't really read the whole story right now. And I know they're talking about this. I'm sure they'll figure it out. So I think that when you're only collecting keys, you lose some of the collectability because you don't have it in a run. So having Thanos 13 is exciting, but if you had Thanos 1 through 20, then it might be more difficult for you to let him go because you're like, I have this run, I can't let go of number 12. So that's why I think if they could eventually release runs, that would be more significant. But either way, I think these common comics, you should not sleep on them. I think they're going to be valuable, and I certainly have purchased a number of them. So take care. I appreciate you all. I'll talk to you all soon.